Alrighty, hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Liam, or if you've played with me on PokerStars, I go by the username of vibe.pokercoaching. I haven't recorded a video in a while, but I don't know why. I figured, well, actually, I know why. I'm in the queue for, what is happening to my face right now? I'm in the queue for Wrath of the Lich King, if any of you guys play WoW. But I play on a super populated server, so it's takes forever for me to get in. Anyways, in the meantime, I thought I'd just record a video. I've been playing a lot of live poker. I haven't been playing as much online, but still playing, a decent amount of online just to stay sharp, try and practice in some good pools. I've been playing significantly more 200 Zoom since last month, which has been going pretty well so far. So hopefully that holds true this month as well. I'm sure a lot of you guys who play stars have noticed that the 500 Zoom pool is barely running anymore, so that's not good news for me when I want to play some 200, because all the 500 regs are seeping in here now. Just calling here on table 1. I think this makes a super low frequency 4-bet. Obviously a nice flop. It's a flop I'm expecting him to just range bet. It's probably a good enough board he can just range bet for half, which it looks like he is going for. Don't really have any incentive to play raises on this board, just as the in-position player. I have hands that are strong enough to raise, but I don't really want to give him the strategical advantage of reopening the action. Being in position, I just want to see turns. I don't want to let him, check jam on me or bet get raised jam on me. So just going to call. Now when he checks here, obviously he's got a high weighting of like ace highs. He's got some pure give ups, and then he's also got some check jam traps. I think my range is going to want to bet a small size very frequently, just targeting all of his weak, middling pocket pairs. He has some 7x, some low frequency like a7, 7-8, and yeah, just easy call off here. Yeah, he can jam over pairs in this line for sure. So yeah, just a bit of a cooler there for him. Not a bad way to start the 200 session there. And I am sitting out whenever my stack goes over 130 big blinds, just so I can stay with what I'm familiar with as far as stack sizes go. So pure 3-bet here on table 1. Yeah, the pool's not great. 500 is running. I'll open up a new one too. Yeah, been playing a lot of live the past 2 months or so. It's a wild world out there playing live. You see a lot of crazy shit. So it's nice to ground myself in some tough pools. So versus the 4-bet here, MP versus cutoff, I think we do play some flats with queens. I think even on a 25, though, it's a little bit too... Actually, I think at 25 we probably will call. So we're going to have 10s and 9s at a pretty high frequency. Obviously, he has a major asymmetry in the ace-king region. I'm just range betting for small here on table 2. Nothing I really think I want to do except call with my hand. Just want to check back on table 2. I'm not blocking ace queen of hearts. We block king queen suited. We have to call my hand at some frequency. Obviously we block queen jack. We don't block ace jack of hearts. He just has so much king x. Jamming just doesn't really make too much sense for his king x. No, he just has queen jack. That's unfortunate. Oh, we chop. That's lucky. I'm actually not sure about that one. And now I think I want to try and get him off of a chop here with the 10 of hearts. Yeah, I'm going to check that one for sure. I think if we do want to call with a combo of queens, it's that combo. I wasn't really paying attention to this hand either. I forgot how hard it is to talk and play not a pure open here with all regs behind. I'm just going to fold. Yeah, what happened here? C-bet, check back. Oh yeah, no, my massive raise doesn't make as much sense here. I should have went pretty small, I think. Because he can still be value betting, like, you know, some 2-pair. Maybe even, no, I don't think he can value bet his, or he can block bet his ace-x here. I think he can block bet his like 2-pair. That it doesn't really make sense for me to go massive on. Yeah, that hand made no sense. I don't know what I was doing there. High frequency 3-bet here on table 1. So I'm going to have a decent amount of 6x here as well. I think on queen high boards I can bet for 50% somewhat frequently. I still need to build a checking range, big blind versus button, because of my polar 3-betting range. I still just have like a lot of junk that misses this board. So I think a hand like a7 of hearts, or, you know, some random like king 8 of hearts might just turn itself into a check fold. On the king being such a good card for us, I think I get to pretty frequently just bet my range for small. He still has a lot of middling pairs that are in a pretty tough spot against this. Obviously we block those. I think my blockers for tripling are pretty bad. It's nice that we don't block diamonds, which are going to be his snap folds, but he also has snap folds in like the jack 10 of backdoor region. Although he doesn't have that much, he doesn't. I think I still want to jam. It's just such a good run out for me. Like, we block some folds, but I think it's just a really tough spot for him to defend enough. I think it's likely a spot that he's going to overfold. So even though my hand might give up at some frequency in practice, or in theory, I think I like just barreling it pure. 10s and 9s might overfold the turn by him already. So we're really only blocking like ace 10 and jack 10 of clubs. The 9 of clubs isn't super relevant. And just not having diamonds is pretty sick. And then, you know, we block like king 10 of clubs, we block queen 10, that's a potential call on the river. Did I mark this one? Yeah, I think just judging on the run out, it's probably a tough spot for him to defend. Not a pure open on table 2. So assuming he's just going the size with his range here, I don't think our hand really wants to raise that often. And just a spot, I'm just going to range bet. On table 2. Still think I don't have much to do here but call on table 1. So we block ace jack. Seems like a decent, we block 10s that people might not 4-bet enough. Seems like a decent candidate to keep bluffing with on table 2. Now for this size, blind v blind, he does have a lot of like reasonable candidates to bluff with. I think he might overbluff for this sizing. I guess we're trying to get him to fold an ace on table 1. Wonder if we can 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 actually. I kind of like that. We saw some ace-x that might want to bet this size, and he has hands like 8s with a spade, 6s with a spade that we can get to fold out. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure exactly. Like I think when we go all in, so I think we're gonna have a range of blocks for our ace-x. Maybe like kings can still block with a spade on the river. Just targeting like some of his middling pairs and 1 spade type hands. And I think using hands like these to go into that range kind of makes some sense, because when we do go all in, I think it's much more important for us to block his flushes. So if we had like king of spades, queen of clubs or something, that might be a better candidate to go all in. Here we're going to go for the 4-bet. And high frequency checking board on table 1. Obviously the big blind just flops way more 2-pair and sets than we do. And across future runouts, the hands that I do have that are strong now, namely my overpairs, are not really hands that are comfortable tripling off. There's more runouts than not that are going to be bad for what my range advantage is on the flop. When he does check on this turn, now I think I like just bluffing. It's a spot that he should be playing. I think he should be splitting his range here as far as his turn probing strat goes, between a lot of frequent small bets for protection, just trying to target all of my overcards. Hands like this, get a lot of his 1-pair type hands benefit a lot from protection. And also like an overbetting range, because he has some 4x, he has some sets, he has some straights that are strong enough to go all in by the river, that want to extract max value from me. So I think I've changed my tags or my labels since the last time I made a video. And it's essentially just opponents that are leaning aggressive or passive, and whether or not they're a reg. Basically, if you were to kind of make 2 binaries, the only binaries you really need to quickly know about your opponents, especially pre-flop. So that's been one kind of helpful adjustment that I've made. So a board that I'm going to have to play some checkbacks on. I don't think he actually has that much 4x versus under the gun, so I think it's a board I want to size up on a little bit. He does still have a 4x advantage, so I don't think I can start like 75%ing on this board. But sizing up to accommodate my overpairs when it's essentially like a 9 brick board. It's not because he has more 4x, but the advantage that I'm pressing is strong enough to bet this size. Now on the turn, I think I just want to check back. I do want to bet my 6x at some frequency, but I don't think I really want to bet it that often. It feels like I'm just starting to isolate myself to better. And I don't think I think it's a little bit too thin to go for value here. So just going to check back. Nice check he found on the river. He's definitely blocking a lot of my calls there in the 9x, and the queen is a card that I'm going to be able to bluff at pretty frequently. So I think he gets more value with 9s by check raising than overbetting or, you know, betting himself. So 4-bet bluffing table 1. Ace queen off is obviously a pretty nice candidate to do this, as we block a lot of the hands that are going to jam, as you can clearly see here by how he jammed. And yeah, definitely not quite strong enough to call off. Same story here with ace king. We block his continues and his jams and like aces and kings and ace king himself, but with ace king we just have the right price to call off. When he jams, he's going to have a high weighting of like ace king himself, and then he's got some pairs that we're flipping against. So I think this is a texture that I want to half pot or check on. And I think my combo of ace king is a decent candidate to half pot with. I'm blocking a lot of continues that he's going to have with the ace of hearts and king of clubs. But I think it's a board that we just really get to leverage our overpair advantage here. Mostly just in kings and aces, because he's still going to call queens at a decent frequency and jacks at a decent frequency. I'm just going to check my range on this board on table 1. Blind v blind, it's nice to try and simplify. There are a lot of boards where you do just have to split your range on the flop. You just lose too much EV by not having a checking and betting range. But for whatever boards you can, it's nice to be able to simplify to like 1/3 with range, or, you know, a quarter with range, or just checking range. But on these low super connected boards, I think it's a board that I just want to simplify to checking my range on. The big blind just has such a huge advantage in the lower connected region, especially on boards where he's going to flop offsuit straights and offsuit 2-pair that you don't open. As far as my sizing here, I don't know how much I actually like 1/3. Man, I just keep getting these ace queen off 4-bet bluffs, eh? I think it kind of makes sense. If I'm checking range, I still think I want to have a 1/3 range for some like 3x and 4x, like really small pairs just built for protection. He has a lot of ace high when he checks back. And I think I do want to start building, you know, some bigger bets as well. I think that's a turn that I would split on for sure. Another river, I think I could overbet. Not a pure defend there on table 2. I could overbet saying that I have, you know, some overpair that took this line. I think I could go 1/3 again, still targeting his ace high. I kind of just played my hand and wanted him to fold his ace high and picked a size that I thought that he would for sure fold for. Without going too big, because I do think it's a spot that I get heroed by like any pair. So kind of an exploitative bluff size, I guess. Just enough to be sure his ace high will fold. Pocket kings, table 2. Huge. Hopefully we get some action. So the sizing that people 3-bet you to does nice. Love seeing the 4-bet here. Maybe not when he's got a 7% in position 4-bet, but in these positions still happily getting it all in. The sizing that someone's 3-bets you to will dictate a lot how often you have to continue. So if he goes like 8.5, I'm folding pretty frequently. But versus the 7.5, I think on a 64, I just peel. Blocking 9s with the backdoor. I feel like this is maybe not that crazy of a check raise. I'm not too sure how frequently this hand actually check raises. The 8 isn't really that relevant because I don't think either of us ever have 10-8 suited. But just blocking his 9s. And I think now we just hope to check and win versus like 8s or something. I'm curious how frequently I'm check raising 8-9 there. Obviously our straight or our gut shot is reversed by a king, which is pretty bad considering his 3-betting range contains a lot of king X. So I think we'd much prefer to check raise a hand like 9-10 of backdoor than 8-9. King 10 here, I think on a 96 will make it into the fold 4-bet. Another board then was simplifying to checking my range on. These mono boards, small blind versus big blind. I think that the mono boards that unblock more of our flushes are a lot better. So like these lower ones are better because we still retain all of our ace X, king X, and queen X suited combos. Whereas like ace, king, queen mono, the big blind just has a lot more flushes than we do. Just gonna c-bet my range here for 10% on table 1. Generally on these ace high boards, when we lose our overpair advantage, here it's a bit different because there's the king as well. So maybe it is a board that I can still just like 20% range on. But a lot of people will range for a quarter on these like ace high 4-bet pot boards, and it's just your range just can't support it. You've lost your overpair advantage, and the caller will have some ace X in his range. Here on table 2, tough spot if he triples. I'm leaning towards just calling down. I'm going to see what sizing he goes. In a spot where it's easy for him to overbluff, Yeah, this is the size I'm a little more scared of. Guess I'll just let it go. Definitely a spot where he can just blast off with a lot of bluffs one check too. But I don't think it's really that. My hand can check raise at some frequency. I think on a 68 I still want to call, but we'll go for the check raise for the video. Want to respond pretty aggressively on these paired boards. My hand benefits a lot from protection by check raising. So these lower pairs, you'll see check raise pretty often. Benefits from protection. Has 2 outs to the super nuts. The combo that you're going to want to raise the most is going to be the 2 of hearts, 2 of spades, given that you double block. His queen 2 suited. Blind v blind here. I think this is a spot that he wants to overbet or 1/3. I don't think the 75% size really makes that much sense. And with ranges so wide, I don't think I really get to start folding my 9x yet. Kind of leaning just towards calling here. I think he has a lot of jack X, but he has so many available bluffs when he chooses to go this size. Okay, that's this is good to know. Deuce off. Here, I think I'd prefer to not have a diamond with deuces if I do turn my hand into a bluff, just so that I can river a full house flush. River a full house where he makes a flush. Triple barrel, 1/3, 75, 75. Bluff. 1/3 spot. And I think I'm just hoping to check down and win versus like queen high, I guess. Pocket kings again. This time, let's stack someone. Just pure 4-betting here. I think this might be a 1/3 check spot. I'm not actually sure. I'm going to check this one after. So he'll pick up 10s, but he also has some like king queen of spades. We block king queen of clubs. He'll have some like ace queen of spades. I think we just want to jam here on the double flush draw. He's going to have lots of flush draws that get put in a tough spot by this jam. He still has some jack X that we're ahead of, obviously, and queens. I'm gonna check this one in theory if it's a 1/3 checkboard. I think it is. Maybe it's just a 25% range spot. All right, so it's been 30 minutes. I'll probably go for another 15 or so. Ace-3 off is going to be a fold, blind v blind. Obviously, there's a lot of exploitative reasons why you might want to open wider or tighter from certain positions, but for these videos, I'm just going to try and stick mostly to theory, to not out all my exploits to any of my opponents who might be watching. Just like how Vitinho is opening, I assume range if he's opening queen deuce off. I have another note that he opened 4-3 off versus me, blind v blind. He's probably got some exploitative reasons that he's doing that. Either if he assumes that I'm going to under 3-bet, overfold, or if he's got some like post flop reads against me, then those are definitely all good reasons to be opening wider. So Vitinho, if you would please just kindly let me know where my leak is. I'd love to fix that. Thank you. That'd be super nice of you. With a fish in the big blind, I think I will want to construct a small blind calling range. But I think 6-4 suited is a little bit too, or maybe a lot too ambitious. It's not really the kind of hand you want to play multi-way out of position. Versus a rec, I'm just going to lean towards 3-betting when I'm out of position. Expecting not really to get 4-bet as much as I should. And just get to play in as the aggressor in a spot that I'll probably know much more than he will. Interesting donk. I think it kind of makes sense. He's gonna be a lot more connected when he flats the small blind around the kind of 4 deuce and ace connection region. You know, he's gonna limp some like smaller pocket pairs. He's gonna limp some like 5-6, 4-5. He's gonna limp a lot of like suited ace-x. It's just I like as the big blind, I have all those hands as well, so I'm not sure it actually makes that much sense. Like I'm gonna have 3-5 pure, 3-5 off too, so that's gonna hurt him a lot. I don't think he's gonna have either of those, so maybe it makes a a little bit less sense now that I think about it. Just gonna 10% range on this board. I lose my overpair advantage. Obviously, the mono-ness of the board kind of neutralizes my advantage in some ways. I think people are going to overfold versus the 10%. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if some crazy hands like Jack 10 of hearts have to continue. I kind of don't mind 10% again with my hand, but I think that might be a little bit too face up. So this is an example of a board that you'd have to split on, blind v blind. I think my hand can go either way. On a 25, I'm just going to check. I think my hand is strong enough to block for the 25. He still has some middling pairs. He still has some 8x. Versus a raise, versus a small raise. I'm just trying to think if I want to turn my hand into a jam. I'm gonna kind of value / protection bet my hand on table 1. Yeah, I think this is a lot of ace-x. The question is just how often he's gonna fold to a jam here. My hand also operates fine as a bluff catcher. I'm really not sure here. I think I'm just gonna call. It's okay. Happy I didn't jam. I think it's just an attractive spot for him to turn a lot of his like weaker hands into a bluff when I go that size on the river. I think I'd rather jam a hand like king of spades, queen of like king queen off with the king of spades, or you know, maybe some 8x blocker. And when I have like kings that has showdown value, this operates I think fine as a bluff catcher instead. So jack jack deuce, I think that I can just range bet half. We block a queen jack of clubs that he'll have at some frequency. Yeah, so this raising range isn't really a thing. I think clicking makes a lot of sense in my shoes. His jack X doesn't really have that much of an incentive to raise. I'm just gonna range bet here on table 1. He can still be like protection raising with a hand like 10s or 9s. Obviously, I'm a little worried that he's just raising like he's just raising a jack on the flop or like pocket 2s or something. But I'm really just trying to put versus the short stack. I think I'm just gonna fold this. Yeah, I'm really just trying to put his 10s and 9s in a tough spot, his middling pairs that he might be like raising the flop for protection with. I think my hand is still strong enough to jam for value. You know, I think sometimes he's going to show up with a jack here, but my hand is strong enough to triple off anyways. He just has a jack. Okay. Raise flop in position. I might remove the reg label from this guy. I'm not too sure what that's two things this session that he's done that I'm like. The opening wide small blind, if he's doing that as an exploit, makes a lot of sense, but I think the raise with jacks there makes little to no sense. He's just folding out all of my bluffs. He's reopening the action for me when I'm out of position. That allows me to it diminishes his positional advantage. Like obviously a jack is strong enough to raise, like he has hands that are strong enough to raise, but it just folds out all my bluffs. You know, like he's stacked queens, but he's gonna stack that anyways by just calling and letting me triple off. Versus a rec who called 4-bets, I'm just gonna fold eights, even though I think at some frequency it's like a call in theory. I'm gonna go for another 3 minutes here. Nine three. I forget if it ever mixes 3-bets. Given that this guy is going 2.5 though, likely as an exploit for people who are overfolding and under 3-betting, I think 3-betting wider, given I'm assuming his exploit is going to be that he's going to open wider, seems like a pretty decent counter exploit. And then, you know, maybe he can counter exploit me by opening with a super tight range to 2.5, and then I'm going to over 3-bet him. Then he's going to be able to over 4-bet me. Yada, yada, yada. So my hand can check or bet. I think on a 36, I'm going to check. Block queen jack, which is nice. It's a board that in theory you actually have to build a decent amount of checkbacks on, I think, on table 2. My hand benefits a lot from folding out some, you know, like random king high, queen high, jack high type hands. So when he checks to me, I think I just want to go for my showdown on table 1. I kind of don't mind betting 9s again. Versus a fish, I'm just going to bet like 1/3 again. And then check back rivers. I still get called by some flush draws, some middling pairs for this. I still get called by his 8x. And then it can kind of operate as maybe like an in-position block bet almost, to where like if I check back and he bets bigger on the river, I mean, maybe I just fold. And yeah, just checking back on table 1. I think he should definitely be bluffing his hand. He does have to have some give-ups in this line. When it goes check down to the river, the big blind here isn't allowed to bluff everything. But I think the hands that he's going to want to give up with are going to be the hands that are blocking some of my auto-fold give-ups. So, you know, maybe a hand like king queen that I'm going to fold. You know, I think you might want to give up a hand like, you know, king 6 suited, or this board blind v blind I'm actually going to be playing big better check on. It's the only board blind v blind I play big better check. I think I should have bet it on an 80, but I was just talking about this hand. So yeah, I think his give ups are, he's going to want to give up with the hands that block my folds. Whereas 5-4 is just 5 high. It's almost like a complete unblocker. Like he's blocking 5s and 4s, but I don't open those full frequency, and those are actually hands that are probably going to bluff catch pretty frequently. And now I think I just get to block any ace. See, I think he missed a pure bluff here. All right, gonna sit out next big blind. It's a good 45-minute session there. We got some interesting spots. Not a pure open under the gun here with sixes. I think this is a super low frequency 3-bet. Versus a fish though, and with two passive leaning players behind me, ISOing the fish a bit wider seems pretty attractive. And just range c-betting on table 1. And just range c-betting versus the fish. Oh. Excuse me. Interesting on both spots. So I want to play overbet or check here. I think on a 46, maybe my hand checks. I honestly don't know. I think I might just check back, give up on table 2. Expect me. Fish just have a lot of ace-x when he calls there. Like, he will have some 10x, he still has some jacks, queens. If he checks, I might overbet. But yeah, when he bets, I think I'm just going to fold. If he checks, I'm just expecting him to have a lot of 10x and queens, jacks type hands. And our hand is definitely strong enough to raise. He's probably blocking like queen 10 as the bottom of his range. Or like a weak king. I think versus the jam, I'm just going to fold. I don't think I'm really expecting people to find check or small bet jam bluffs here. Oh. Queen 9. Okay. I think that makes sense. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe I'll post a little bit more frequently. I've just been super busy with live stuff and life stuff. So yeah, if you like it, let me know in the comments. If you got any questions, let me know. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. All right, peace out.